The Real Men Talk Show. Come on in. We got Zen I Say in the house tonight. Go on ahead and hit that share button to those that's watching. Go on ahead and like, subscribe, and share. We got an awesome show tonight. Come on in. Welcome to the Real Man Talk Show. We got two shows tonight, and my first guest that's up is Zen I Say. We've been going back and forth for the last, I would say, 7 to 8 months, and we finally made this happen. And I want to welcome Zen. What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am great, and I'm glad to have you. Thank you so much for finally coming on the Real Man Talk Show.
Yeah, I'm great. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you. And it's been a while since you and I seen each other. Probably over a year, right?
It's been over a year.
Yeah. Oh my God. So to those that don't know, I met Zen at the Shrine of the Black Madonna.
Yes.
At Brother Fanon's African American Study course.
Yes.
And from there, she gave me and my girl the honors of blessing her show by Ben Vendors. So thank you so much for inviting us out. So we came to a show, and when we came to a show, it was a show unlike any other that I've been here in Houston, because it was a show that was geared around poetry. And I've been looking for a poetry show, and she the one that was doing all the poetry here, and I had no idea. So when she brought us to the venue up there, I'm gonna say near Greenspoint, right?
It was, yes.
Greenspoint. And there was some amazing artists that came up on the stage. And after that, I think she did another show, probably 2 more shows out there, and that's when COVID hit. And when COVID hit, it shut a lot of things down.
Yes.
I was so impressed with all the talent that you had on the stage, as well as yourself. A lot of people probably don't know, but you're an artist and a poet yourself. So with that being said, tell us, who is Zen I Say?
Okay. Well, I actually have a piece about that, so I'll start with that. My name is Zen I Say, and I will now unfold the story behind that name and the lessons that it holds. 20 years ago, I worked my way through college ed. Waitressing, I paid the bills, 3 jobs in all. I bled. A day arrived so full of strife, coworkers craved the pill that kept a smile upon my face when they all wanted to kill. What are you on that gives you rest? I need some of your Zen, they stressed. I smiled and just confessed my faith is all I need. Fast forward 10, and once again, a day arrived with rage. And in the midst of chaos, others marveled at my grace, hung around, embraced my calm, my total centeredness. Again, they intoned Zen you be, but I did not see that in me until I embraced my destiny. I had to give in. It took me 20 years to see the purpose of my life, to calm and soothe and to inspire, to dim effects of strife. Ashe came next, a word that means so be it, like amen. Yoruba in origin, it bonds me to lost kin, yet deeper still, like Shayla written in the Psalms, it means be still and meditate on what you read, ponder long. Yet even more, it means my words exhale with force. They live, they breathe, they change the world, they alter my own course. A writer and a poet, this name states my destiny to exhale living, breathing words that change humanity, that encourage people to consider truth and challenge them to grow, because at the end of everything, self-knowledge must unfold. And so now you know my purpose and you understand my plan. You have just entered the state of Zen, never be the same again.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow.
So I am a writer and a poet. I am an educator. I've been an educator for 25 years. I've taught high school and from ninth grade all the way up to 12th grade for 25 years. I started off in seventh grade, which middle school people, you are a special breed. I'm telling you, wonderful. I can't do it. So yeah, so I've been an educator. I've been a writer since I was a kid. And then I became a performer 4 years ago. And when I started performing, I saw what I thought were some gaps. And so I wanted to create a show that I felt kind of filled in some of those gaps. And so that's why I created my show.
And I want to tell you, first of all, thank you so much for your services to the kids. We need more educators. And once again, those that are educators, most of them are called to be educators. It's just not a profession that you just jump in. You got to have some type of passion to do that. So thank you, sister, very much.
Thank you.
You would what? Houston ISD or which one you with?
I'm in Aldine.
Aldine. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. And you're dealing with a special breed when you say 9 through 12 because those are our future leaders. So
yes,
when you're dealing with them, that's a whole nother aspect. Are you able to incorporate your poetry and first of all, I love the energy. And between now and into March, what I'm doing is promoting a lot of the Houston local podcasts and platforms. And you're the first person I brought on the show to promote the platforms. And I love yours because your show is unlike any others. You know, a lot of people such as me is doing podcasts talking about politics, healing men, sports, but yours is surrounded around energy.
yes.
So with that being said, how did you come up with the Energy Podcast, and are you able to use your poetry inside the classroom?
I do a poetry unit every year, and normally when I do that poetry unit, I do incorporate myself as a performer. I do perform for them. I have shown them. I've even had several of my students published because I encourage. We have this class that's called AP, and it's advanced placement. So after the test, kids want to tune out. They don't want to do anything. So because I have a class, it's called AP Exam Prep, after they take their test, before COVID, I would actually get them involved in creative writing and say, okay, hey, what do you want to talk about? Get a piece together, craft the piece, and then you're going to submit it. You're going to submit it. And so they submit to Teen Inc. There's lots of platforms out there for teens, but that's one that's really open to a lot of different types of writing. And so I've had, over a dozen of my kids published in the last couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I do incorporate poetry in the classroom, and I do try to get the kids to speak, get up and speak and also perform, especially in that class, once we're done with the AP test. I do try to do that. And you were asking me about how did I come up with the Zenurgy Podcast?
Yes.
You mentioned COVID.
Zenurgy Podcast.
Yes. You mentioned COVID, and yes, my last show before the one that I just did was the Ides of March. Oh my gosh, the Ides of March, which goes back to Julius Caesar when they told him to beware of the Ides of March, and he got killed on that day. And then that was my last show. So it was very foreshadowing. We had no shows for 8 months. And in fact, the place that you saw me at, that I invited you to, that Black-owned business actually shut down.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Some of the venues that I have been working with, they're not even in existence anymore because of COVID. But when COVID happened, normally summer is my biggest season. I have about 8 shows at least. We have Mother's Day, we have Father's Day, we have, Juneteenth. Normally I do something on Malcolm X Day. I normally do 2 award shows in the summer. We have spring, kind of like the vacation kind of, a vacation kind of show, getting out of school kind of show, and then going back to school kind of show. Right. So that was going to be a huge hit for me financially. And, teachers, we make a good living, but we don't make the big bucks that some other people make. Many teachers have a side hustle. So poetry has been my side hustle for the last 2 years. And
you say 2 years?
The show, I've been performing for 4 years. I've been writing for longer than that, but I've had the business for 2 years.
Wow, because I thought you'd been doing it longer than that, just the way you put it on. So, hey, hats off to you. Wow, didn't have no clue.
Yeah, thank you. So when COVID hit, I think that a lot of people had to reevaluate. Now, for me personally, it was even more of a hit because I guess you could say that it shook my security, my foundations, as a business owner, as an artist. It hit me in both those areas. And I just was like, whoa. So I had to think about, what do I have control of that Trump can't take away, COVID can't take away? And I went back to the ABCs. I went back to, when I was small, my mother gave me a Bible promise book. Okay. And I've kind of moved away from traditional Christianity, but it said, when you feel depressed, read this. When you feel, overwhelmed, read this. When you feel this, read this. And it was very focused on these thematic concepts. And I used that book, 20 something years. But when I moved away from that, like the traditional Christianity, I kind of found myself at a loss, because if you Google a lot of things, people want you to buy a program. You're feeling stressed, come buy my program, come do this. And I was like, I just want a little bit of help. Give me a little bit of help. Give me something to tide me over. Give me something that's going to inspire me. And give me something that I can relate to. Because sometimes when you're coming from different perspective, a Black perspective, some of the things out there just don't resonate. We all are human, but the Black community has certain issues that we understand between each other.
Right.
And so I was looking for that help. And I said, you know what? Once again, I don't really see it in any kind of cohesive form. I don't see something that seems to be packaged to where there's a lot of principles in one format that I can go to again and again and again and again and again. You know what I'm saying? And I had my motivational speakers that I love to listen to. I had different books that I have a whole library. But again, I wanted something that was not just focused on business, because I've got that. Right. Not just focused on arts, because I've got that. I wanted it to be focused on life. And so that's kind of where the idea came from. Get more from life was kind of the whole theme of Zenurgy. We have this urge for more peace, for more fulfillment. Let's go back to the ABCs. And so I started off with abundance, because at the time I was thinking scarcity, lack, scarcity. And I didn't want to think that.
Right.
And so I had to just take that off my plate and say, okay, I'm going to focus on abundance. I'm going to do a podcast on abundance. And then from there, it was, adapting. Of course, everybody was adapting, taking action instead of being stuck in procrastination, being stuck in fear. And then I started to bring in other people. I was like, how are you taking action? How are you adapting? What alternatives have you seen? So Alternatives was a show that we did. And so all of it was focused on COVID, really, but it was focused on life too. Right. Because you could use that way, whenever, if we, get past this and life goes back to normal, right, you can still go back and look at these and listen to them and be inspired. And so that's where Zenurgy came from.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, those that's watching, I'm here with Zen I Say with the Zenurgy Podcast. We're going to take about a 3-minute break, and we're going to come back with Zen I Say talking more about the Zenurgy Podcast. So stay tuned and come back. We're going to take a quick 3-minute intermission.
Welcome to Houston's Notary, the fastest and most efficient mobile notary service. Houston's Notary pride itself on following up with their customers and making them feel at ease. Houston's Notary has the finest notaries that provides many services, such as loan closings, fingerprints, cash outs, affidavits, wills, trust, power of attorneys, employment verification, documents for immigration, and legal documents. Wow! So many services that all you have to do is call. Toll free 1-844-292-5562 or 713-956-6485 or visit houstonsnotary.com. Let us be your notary.
Many people are tired of typical pharmaceutical drugs that have major side effects and causes addictions. The federal government has legalized CBD in all 50 states. CBD binds to the CB pain receptors in your body. The Houston Health and Wellness Company offers many products that could help you immensely. The consumer favorite gummies are delicious edibles that you can take and attain immediate relief. The tincture is a CBD product in liquid form that you place under your tongue that also comes in a variety of flavors. For those aching joints and muscles, Houston CBD has a full-spectrum salve with various all-natural ingredients that will help provide relief. They even have CBD for dogs. Yes, CBD for dogs. Botana oil from Dr. Sebi's Usha Village. It's an all-natural oil from the Botana plant that has been known to help hair grow at a rapid rate. It can be used as a moisturizer for your skin. Best of all, it's all natural. They also have elderberry syrup for your immune system. Go to www.houstonscbd.com. That's Houston with an S, CBD.com.
Welcome back, you all. I'm here with Zen I Say. I'm Leo Bisata with the Real Man Talking. We're here talking to Zen I Say about the Zenurgy Podcast. To you all that missed the introduction, she was talking about how she came up with this amazing podcast. And I want to ask you now, what can people expect when they come on to the Zenurgy Podcast?
Well, they can expect that it's going to be conversational. I really do believe, going back to my church roots, to let the Spirit lead, in terms of, I feel like whoever's tuning in, they're going to get a message that's personalized to them. And the people coming on, they have something in their heart. And it's my job as the interviewer, per se, to bring that message out, to bring out their story. So I definitely want to bring out the story that the person's bringing, but I'm going to definitely have my own points that I want to cover on whatever topic. So like if you go to my website, laughsandlyrics.com, it's going to say, want to be a guest on the Zenurgy show. And there's going to be 10 topics there. They're alphabetical and you would pick one. So if you're picking that topic, you should have something to say about it. But also you're on there to promote your business, your artistry, whatever you do, because I feel like we have, okay, let's go back to the African village. In the African village, no one was more important than anyone else. Let's take the chief out and the mother elders, but let's take them out. Let's say everybody had a role. The person who was hunting had a role. The griot who told the stories had a role. The medicine man had a role. All of these people were very valuable. Nobody was like, oh, you don't matter. You don't make enough money. You don't have a college degree. You don't whatever. Everyone had a purpose and everyone was seen as valuable. And the village didn't work without them. And so I feel that's the concept behind Zenurgy, is that wherever you're coming from, whether you're a person who just got out of jail and is rebuilding their life, you got a story. If you're an educator, and you've been doing this for 25 years, you have a story. If you're a nurse, if you're a business person, if you're an artist, everyone has a story about how they are dealing with life, how they are moving past the obstacles that they've come across, how they are growing. And that's what the whole podcast is about. My logo is a butterfly in water. And so if you've ever seen that butterfly effect idea, that a small change ripples out. So I believe that you can hear one thing from one person, and that could be the small change that you need to ripple out into your life and make big results. And so I believe that if you let people tell their story, number one, people remember stories. Everybody in here knows stories that they heard when they were kids, and they've never forgot them. Right. Nobody had to say that to you 25 times for you to understand the story. You got it most times the first time, and it's stuck. So stories are powerful. They teach. And when going back to the African village, the myths, of all cultures were the way we taught the children, the principles. How do you get along? How do you learn how to trust? How do you learn how to act? We learn Little Red Riding Hood. We learn, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. We learn all these different little stories, right? But the point is, those stories all had a message. And so I believe that in real life, people's stories have messages, and we should really take those messages in and take the nuggets out of them. So my goal is, when I'm listening to you, there's a nugget. Let me pull that out. Let me make sure the audience doesn't miss the nugget. Because sometimes we get caught up in the story and we forget, there was a little lesson right there. So that's my job, to be listening and to be pulling out all those nuggets and even putting them in the show notes, so people don't miss the nuggets, so people don't miss that real life. I'm not talking about theory. I'm not talking about something somebody thought might work. I'm talking about something somebody went through, something somebody experienced. And so that's what I want to bring to the podcast. I want to bring real life experiences from a lot of different people, from a lot of different backgrounds. And so we can be inspired, and also so we can see the value in every person. Everybody has a value. I don't care what your history is. You have a value, so that's another thing.
I agree with you on that. So to those that's watching, once again, we're here with Zen Ashe from the Zenurgy Podcast. And I don't want no one to miss these nuggets. So I want to ask you, what do you have coming up that they need to know about?
So Friday, we have started coming back and doing live shows. I will not do a live show at a club because it's not enough control. I'm doing them at a soul food restaurant that has a stage. And so we're limiting it to 50 people. All right. So JW Soul Food and Barbecue off of Rayford Sawdust and 99. I'm going to be doing a show Friday, which is called Flow. So we're going to have poetry, comedy, and music there. So people can get their tickets online at my website or on Eventbrite. They can go to Laughs and Lyrics Flow. All right. The tickets are actually on sale right now for Kwanzaa.
What's the price of that sale ticket? Because people want to know the sale. What's the sale and how long is the sale?
The sale will end before the show starts. So you can't come trying to buy tickets at the door for the sale price. Okay. The tickets were normally $10. You can go online and get them for $5 right now.
Oh, wow. That's a great deal. Wow.
Yeah. And we do have I have merchandise that I'm going to sell there. I have shirts, like the shirt that I'm wearing, Get Zen, Stay Zen, Spread Zen. I have some of these. I have a website. So I have some masks and things like that I'll have for sale too, But so the Friday show, and then the next day on Saturday, I'm doing a workshop called Zenurgize Your Life. And a lot of people are getting ready to do vision boards. Well, I believe that life has given you more than images to work with in terms of building a goal or an idea of what you want your life to be. So, yes, thank you. So Zenurgize Your Life, if you come to that is normally a $25 ticket. It's on sale for $20 right now. You're going to get a workbook. The workbook has 16 principles in it. So we're going to have a 1 hour show where you'll have, and if you scroll down a little bit, you can kind of see the visual for basically the idea. You're going to be using your past. You're going to be using media. We are inspired by songs, by movies, by books. Why aren't you using that as a goal setting tool? That should be a goal setting tool. We are inspired by role models. ancestors and people who've come before us. So that should be part of the goal setting tool. That was my book that you saw at the bottom. So I have one of my books online. That's the first book that I wrote. And then I have the workbook that's going to come with the goal setting workshop.
So let's talk about that.
Yes.
Because we got about a few minutes. Talk about how people can reach you and some of the products you have for them besides the show. Because there's an amazing show that you got coming up. And I'm like, man, it's a lot that you're giving for these shows. And you got 2 shows, but talk about some of your products and how they can reach you.
So if you go to the website he has on the screen, I have another website that's just for merchandise. I do have Afrocentric and inspirational, motivational merchandise, everything from mugs, pillows, blankets, t-shirts, masks, leggings, socks, phone cases, all that stuff. So I have Laughs in Lyrics with the N, merch.com. And if you go to the website that he has on the screen, it's up at the top, so you can go there. So right there where it says Laughs and Lyrics merch.com. And also the podcast. I definitely want to get people listening to the podcast. I want to get them sharing the podcast. I want to get them subscribing to the podcast. We have 12 episodes up right now. I'm releasing an episode every Friday. If you look where he just went, you can actually go and see all of the artists that we've had on our shows. I've had over 85 artists on the show.
Wow.
Some of these are local artists. You can find their everybody that I've had on the show has a positive message. I'm not bringing anybody on the show that's, how can I put it, detrimental to the culture. So you can see where they have their merchandise. I believe in promoting. I believe in, if I see something good, telling people about it. So you've got clips from these artists. You have, you can click on, and Baba Fanaz on there playing his, you mentioned him before, playing the drums. So there's information about where you can find their merchandise, where you can find their streams and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff on the website that's for the community. And so those are some of the things that I offer. Like I said, merchandise, the shows, and also just really an artist platform. I also have, when we get to the bigger shows, whenever COVID is over, I am looking for people to come out and vend. I'm also looking for people to do what you were doing with your show, is advertise on the podcast. When I do the podcast, I do have the ability to do YouTube videos, put your information in a clip in the YouTube video, also to put it in the show notes on all of the streams. When people go to Apple Podcasts, Pandora, they can see your information down in the show notes. They can hear me say it in the podcast. I normally open with, this is sponsored by, and then end with, again, this was sponsored by, so if you have a business and you want to promote yourself, I have packages that start at 15 and go up from there for you to support what we're doing and also support yourself. So yeah.
But Zen, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Real Man Talk Show to talk about the Zenurgy Podcast, and wish the Zenurgy Podcast nothing but peace and blessings, and hope to see you soon in the future. But thank you so much for coming on the Real Man Talk Show.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. And thank you all for tuning in, and we'll have another show in the next couple minutes. Just come right back in. But thank you all. I'll see you in the next couple minutes. Thank you, Ms. Zen. I say thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.